Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. We're going to start with what I believe is false. There are reports, two reports about Russians abandoning Kherson. At this point, we do not believe they are credible. Both were from reasonably small media sources. Both were from inside the Ukraine. One was about 16 hours ago and said that Russian forces had abandoned. Another one from about 4 hours ago, which says that there was rejoicing and protesting in the city of Kherson, protesting presumably if the Russian forces had left, presumably the war. But at this point, that's been over 16 hours, and we haven't had a credible news source recount that. So we're going on the assumption that this is in fact false, and the current news that we have, unfortunately, is really extraordinarily brutal. And actually, come to think of it, we have more recent sources that seem to contradict this quite significantly. So I think we're gonna we've heard talk about it. I don't think it's true at this point. It doesn't appear to be something that we can corroborate. It doesn't appear to be true. In fact, what we do know, what we appear to know at this time, is Russian forces are settling into Kherson. We believe that the city is without power and without water. Russian forces have checkpoints throughout the roads and are shooting anyone who tries to leave. They're blocking humanitarian aid, including ambulances trying to reach villages in nearby provinces. Let's see. Any province, any village not under Russian control, and even if they were at this point, I suspect, is not receiving humanitarian aid from the city. Ukrainian authorities have tried to set up one of the evacuation corridors in the area. Russia agreed to a ceasefire from starting Saturday, 9 a.m. local time. Now, this was just a very localized ceasefire in what were being called humanitarian corridors. And let's see. However, at this point, Ukrainian authorities claim that Russian forces continued shelling through that time and even began deliberately targeting civilians in the evacuation corridors. Access to hospitals at this point is scarce. People in need of chemotherapy or other regular hospital treatments are unable to get them. In the city, they have now a curfew, begins at 8 p.m. Anyone outside after that is shot. There appears to be no Russian plans for supplying the city with food, water, or electricity. Some shelters are there. They are running low on, to the best of our understanding, they're running low on gasoline or fuel for the generators. It's unfortunately looking pretty grim. At this point, it looks like we're going to start to have, within the next 48 hours, a major humanitarian crisis occurring in Ukraine. Again, it looks like the occupying forces actually have zero plans for how to feed these people as the cities are occupied and are not permitting people to leave. This, to me, looks like it may be what we were speaking about a couple nights ago, that actually sort of an attempt at the ethnic cleansing. If they starve everybody in these cities, they don't have to shoot them all. It looks like it's headed towards one of the worst humanitarian events in modern times if we don't find a way to stop it. And at present, I'm not aware of one. The Russian defense minister said earlier Saturday, that would be today, that they would stop the bombing of Mariupol and Volnovakhnaya, which have endured at this point now 5 days of indiscriminate and heavy shelling. Residents there have hunkered down in basements without food or water, limited supplies, and without power. But just a few hours after an announcement of this ceasefire, it appears that, top Ukrainian officials have accused Russians of breaking that ceasefire. Quote, due to the fact that the Russians are not observing the ceasefire and continue the sharing of Mariupol and its outskirts, the evacuation for the population has been postponed, said the governor of the Donetsk region, Pavlo Kurylenko. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian Minister of Reintegration of Temporarily Occupied Territories said that about 200,000 people were supposed to be evacuated from Mariupol and another 15,000 from Volnovakhnaya. And at this point, it looks like they will be unable to get any of them out. The International Committee of the Red Cross says that they have learned that civilian evacuations will not go ahead as planned after operations were postponed by Ukrainian authorities, citing the said shelling. Quote, we understand that safe passage from Mariupol and Volnovakha will not be achieved today. We remain in dialogue with the parties about safe passage of civilians from different cities affected by the conflict. Doctors Without Borders issued a statement on Saturday pleading for the evacuation corridors to remain open. The statement included an account from a MSF staff member in Mariupol who said the situation in the city was getting desperate. Quote, we collected snow and rainwater yesterday and have had some utility water. We tried to get free water today, but the queue was huge. Multiple grocery stores were destroyed by missiles, and the remaining things there were taken by people in desperate need. Quote, still no, hold on one sec, let me just, still no power, water, heating, or mobile connection. No one has heard about any evacuation yet, and pharmacies are running out of medicine. At this point, that once again, and we've heard this unfortunately now basically every day for the past 4 or 5 days since the French president spoke with Putin, that right now we are expecting the worst still yet to come. Russian President Vladimir Putin said on Saturday that the sanctions against his country are, quote, the equivalent of a declaration of war. Yeah, we're saying we're not going to trade with him. That's not, oh dear Lord, we'll get into that. I'm a little triggered. He also says that they are not planning on a state of emergency in Russia or enlisting conscripts for the, quote, operation in Ukraine. We could have taken a different course of action, he said. We could have helped the republics of Donbass at the contact line and reinforced them with the Russian army. But in this case, and I mean with unwavering support from the West, we would have had radicals on the other side coming endlessly with support from the West. Our general staff, the Ministry of Defense, went the other way. The first thing they did was to destroy the entire military infrastructure of Ukraine. Well, not all of it, but partly, mostly. He has so much more in common with Trump than I care to think about. Putin said that they have almost completely destroyed the Ukrainian air defense systems, but as of yet, while we know that they've taken heavy losses, there's no evidence for that particular claim. He also added that the demand to close the sky, hold on, hence the demand to close the sky with the implementation of this demand is associated with a colossal and catastrophic consequence, not only for Europe, but for the whole world. The Ukrainian leadership needs to understand that if they continue doing what they are doing, they put under question the future of Ukrainian statehood, and if that happens, it will be entirely on their conscience. That is Vladimir Putin saying that at this point, the Russian resistance is so annoying that he's considering taking the entire country. All right, I think I'm going to, that's it for today. For now, basically, it's everything that we've covered. I'm going to cover the map for a second, a bit more, but it's exactly what you'd expect. So stand by one, give me 1 second here, and let's get, is the map already up? The map is up. Let me, all right. So what we have here, if you look, is that's the corridor, and it was going to be taking roughly 200,000 people out of the city of Mariupol. That's a city of about 300,000, and they are now all facing starvation, no power, no food coming into the city. Most of the food in the city already gone, no water, no heat. So obviously things are extremely dire there. This is the corridor. Almost as soon as it opened, shelling didn't stop for people to actually take advantage of it. At least that's what we've been told. And as soon as it opened and people tried to use it, they were deliberately targeted. what we have, let's see there, and again, they need that city. If we go to, actually, let's go real quickly to right here. This is Kherson here, and as I said, we believe it's still very much under Russian control. What we've been told is that there is an 8 p.m. curfew. Anybody outside after 8 p.m. is summarily executed. They are not allowed to leave the city. Anybody attempting to leave the city is shot and killed. 2 people tried to leave the city earlier today. One of them was badly wounded. The other one was in fact killed. They also don't have any supplies of water, electricity, or food. So that's obviously... I forget how many people are in that city. I want to say it's another 300,000, so we're looking at about 600,000 currently completely surrounded or in an occupied city. The Russians appear to have no plan for getting food to the civilians, for restoring power, or in any way whatsoever keeping this city alive. They could easily supply it. It's reasonably close to Crimea. At this point, it looks like they don't have a plan to do so. What that suggests is they're going to starve the entire city out, despite the fact that they've already got control of it. Also appears to be that that's going to be the plan in Mariupol. And at this point, if we go to, here we go, Kharkiv right here, shelling has continued to escalate, and more civilians are being killed. Once again, it does appear like they are targeting civilians. Well, we talked about ethnic cleansing that had happened in Chechnya, and that has happened in prior when Russians gained control of an area. This appears to be a sort of a pattern of Putin's to engage in ethnic cleansing reasonably quickly. And it appears he's actually already starting it. He's just going about it a slightly different way. Instead of going around and shooting everyone, he's starving them all to death. Again, at this point, I wish we had better news. I think we're looking at one of the greatest humanitarian crises in a generation, and certainly the greatest since World War II, occurring or about to occur within days here in Ukraine. The column does still appear to be stalled. We still believe at this point that it's mostly actually the tires dry rot, and they haven't been taking care of the tires, and the tires basically all started failing pretty quickly when they came in, and the convoy just slowed down and continued to slow down until it came to a grinding halt about, this map says about 5 miles out. Last we heard it was definitely less than 10 at any rate. They're right there. If that column were to get moving again at this point, I don't see any way that Kiev would make it. The President Zelensky has met with EU leaders and with other Western leaders, and has reportedly said that he does not expect to survive much longer. There have been 3 assassination attempts on his life, according to Ukrainian agencies, and we believe that there's been at least one. We seem to be able to support at least one. The thinking is that the reason they failed is because intelligence from Russia has tipped off Zelensky and his men, allowing them to survive the attacks. Purportedly, there's confusion inside Russian intelligence as to how they seem to be so aware as to when these assassination attempts are coming. Nonetheless, it's crystal clear they are attempting to, quote, cut off the head of Ukrainian government, and this means, we believe, assassinating him as quickly as possible. We killed Yamamoto. However, Yamamoto was engaged in war at the time. I don't, in general, assassinating the heads of state is not considered, it's considered a violation of the so-called rules of war. There don't appear to be any rules in this case. So that's what we have. They've lost several other cities, mostly one smaller than Mariupol. It's looking pretty desperate. So what I'm going to do at this point, I am going to hit up the live chat, and we'll see what you guys, if there's anything else we can do. At this point, I think, barring something extraordinary, things are going to get very, very bad over there. There's already, fortunately, over 1 million that seem to have escaped. You'd think it would be in Russia's best interest to get them out of there, but this appears to be ethnic cleansing. There's been comparisons of Putin to Hitler. I've been somewhat wary of them, although there is evidence. I mean, he's engaged in ethnic cleansing in the past. But at this point, it really does look like his goal is, and he's actually said he wants to purge all non-Russians from the area, and it's been pointed out that, okay, that would be over 90% of the population. So this is, I think, about as bad as any of us have seen in a generation. We have seen this on a smaller scale before. It's been pointed out. It's occurred certainly on a smaller scale in the Middle East. This is, I think, about to be staggering. So let me, oh, dear Lord. All right, let me check the live chat, as I said. So give me 1 second here. And yeah, there we go. More never. Yeah. Good to see you too, Jason. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for your support. Thank you, Aunt Kathy, for your support. I'm hopeful that it's helpful as this situation gets more dire. Honestly, yeah, we're gonna continue doing it. I'd also like to remind you that there's a lot of people here, and I know you know this. I know you really mean everybody at In Time, but I'd like to point out that there are a lot of other people here. Randy, good to see you. Thank you all. Good to see you, Iron Charioteer. It's been good catching up with you on the Discord. I am going to be on the Discord a little later tonight. I don't think it's going to be immediately after the show, but I do plan on coming in later. We've been having a lot of discussions throughout the day on our Discord. That's also where we get most of our news from. People contribute news to the Discord, and we curate it for the show. So if you want to contribute in any way, or if you just want to hang out, we've been getting a lot of new people in there, a lot of great conversations. So hopefully you guys will, I think you'll enjoy it. So I hope you'll join the Discord. The Russians are playing by Clausewitzian logic. I don't know that Clausewitz was where he stood on genocide. I mean, politics, war is an extension of politics through other means, I assume, is the quote. And in that sense, but I'd put genocide as a slightly different beast. Genocide's already an act of war. It has very little to do with politics in general. I guess it can, but all right. Well, I think that's about it. So, yeah, I tell you what, I think we're gonna call it an early night tonight. I think at this point, let me think. I mean, I've got a photo up. It was a particularly difficult photo of a young man and a woman bringing their toddler into the hospital. I'm not going to show it. Part of me wants to, because I think we all need to see what this looks like. But we already have some idea, and we'll show it or something like it more in the future. We all have that coming, I think. Decompressing as much as possible. And the stories are in the Discord, and it's yeah. The humanitarian crisis is just beginning. The International Red Cross and Doctors Without Borders are very worried about this, obviously. So we'll keep it up, but right now all we have is just the increase in shelling and the shutting down of the corridors, and what appears to be more deliberate targeted of civilians. So as we know more, we'll let you know, but it does appear as if the attack is significantly increasing. There was no curfew enacted, which we had expected. I'm still expecting, but he said publicly there wouldn't be one. So, it seems like it would be hard for him to go back. All right. Like I said, I will join the Discord in a little bit. I'll be down there. Hope you guys are doing well, but I think for the most part, we've covered everything that's happened in the last 24 hours, and we look forward to catching up with you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.